If you played sport at a high level and right now you've got chronic low back pain, a hip flexor that won't release no matter how much you stretch it, glutes that don't fire, and a body that just feels permanently locked, I want to show you something today that's going to reframe every piece of advice you've ever been given. Because the problem isn't where you think it is. It was never where you think it is. And today, I'm going to map the entire cascade from the original trigger all the way to where the pain shows up in your body and show you exactly why the standard approach of stretching, PT, and core work keeps missing. So let's go. Zone number one. This is the input, everything that fed into your nervous system over the years of high output training. And I want you to look at this because this is the part that almost nobody talks about. It's not one injury, it's the accumulation, years of pushing through, injuries that were managed, not resolved, an identity built so completely around what your body could do that there was never a signal, never a moment that said you're safe, you can rest now. Your nervous system was reading that the entire time, taking notes, and what it concluded was threat is still active, and that decision kicked off a sequence that is still running in your body right now. And here's what the sequence looked like. Zone number two. This is where it starts. Not in your back, not in your hip, in your nervous system's threat detection. And the critical thing to understand here, the thing that makes this different from anything you've ever been told, is that your nervous system does not distinguish between an old injury and a current danger. It doesn't care that your playing career ended. It doesn't care that you stopped competing. If the stress load accumulated past a certain threshold without being resolved, and for the most high output athletes it did, the system keeps running the protection response. What we're looking at right now is a nervous system that detected an unsustainable level of output and made a decision. Shut it down before it breaks further. This was the right call. This kept you functional. The problem with that, though, is that the threat actually passed, and nobody told the system that it was over. Zone number three. This is the step that everyone skips, and it's why nothing you've tried has stuck. When the nervous system initiates the shutdown, the first structure it takes offline is not your psoas, it's not your glute med, it's your diaphragm. Your breathing changes. Instead of belly breathing, diaphragmatic, intra-abdominal pressure built, you shift chest dominant, becoming shallow breathing, sympathetically driven, and what that does is collapse your internal pressure system. Your spine was being stabilized pneumatically, pressure from the inside out. The second that goes offline, your body needs to find a new stabilizer, and the one it grabs first is the psoas. It's the moment the cascade officially fires. I want you to look at this right here, because this is the single most important thing on this entire board. Find the hip flexor. Try to release it, nothing sticks. Because this is still offline. You cannot sustainably release a muscle that the nervous system put there on purpose without first giving the nervous system a reason to stop protecting you. And that reason starts with the diaphragm. Now, real quick, before I walk through the rest of this, if you just watched Zone 3 explanation and you immediately thought, that's me, that's exactly what's happening, I don't want you to wait until the end of this video. The link in the description below, book a one-on-one call with me to understand where you're at currently. And the call is one thing. We figure out exactly where in the cascade your body got stuck, and I help map out your specific restart sequence with you. I work with a small number of individuals at a time, not because of capacity, but because the work required to do so. The intake form takes about 2 minutes. Go fill it out and come right back here. So here we go with Zone 4, the compensation chain. And I want to walk you through each piece slowly because this is where every symptom you've ever been told is the problem actually lives. So first, the psoas. Once the diaphragm is offline, the psoas becomes the emergency spinal stabilizer. It locks down. It shortens, compresses L1 through L5, so your lumbar spine, and critically pulls you into anterior pelvic tilt, which does one specific thing. Mechanically inhibits your glutes, not because your glutes are weak, because the psoas is in a protective lock that prevents them from firing. So every glute activation exercise you've ever done, you're trying to turn on a muscle that the system was intentionally keeping offline. That's why it didn't stick. Number two, the second piece is the QL. With the psoas locked and the glutes inhibited, your quadratus laborum becomes your lateral stabilizer. It was not designed for this job. It elevates the hip on the dominant side. And this creates what we call a functional leg length discrepancy. One hip rides higher, your gait changes while you walk or run, your loading pattern changes, and every step you take from here reinforces the pattern. Third, the glute medius, already inhibited from the psoas lock, now further loaded by the gait asymmetry. The hip drops on the swing phase. If you've ever been told you have a Trendelenburg gait, that's this. And the downstream effect is your knee tracking inward, your IT band loading, your patella tendon tracking off. This is why so many former athletes have knee pain alongside the hip and back pain. It's the same cascade, just further downstream. Now we go to zone 5. The pain output: low back, hip flexor, SI joint, your knee, sometimes even the shoulder. When the thoracic spine starts bracing to compensate for the lumbar instability, this is the address every intervention has been aimed at. 6 months of PT on the low back, hip flexor stretches, core work, all aimed at zone 5. The output, not the input, not the signal, not the cascade, the output. And I want you to read this line right here. The pain is never where the problem started. Never. If your pain is in your low back, the problem started in zone 3. If your hip flexor is chronically tight, the problem started in zone 3. The pain is just where the signal reached threshold. It's the alarm going off. You can silence the alarm, or you can fix what triggered it. Zone 6. This is the athletic restoration. Right here, front and center. The restart sequence. The first thing you need to understand about this is look at step 1. Is that it starts at the top of the cascade, not the bottom. Diaphragm first. Before you touch the psoas, before you activate the glutes, let me move this over here for you. Before you do a single hip stability exercise, you restore breathing mechanics. You rebuild intra-abdominal pressure. You give the nervous system the one signal it's been waiting for since this whole thing started. The threat is over. It's safe to let go. Step number 2, psoas release. And I'm being specific here. This is not stretching the psoas. Stretching a muscle that the nervous system is intentionally contracting will get you 30 minutes of relief and then it snaps right back. This is deloading, removing the demand that it put there. That only happens after step 1. Step number 3 is glute med reactivation. Now and only now may you progressively load the glutes and have it actually stick, because the psoas inhibition is clearing. The signal is no longer blocking the signal. The system is no longer blocking the signal. Step 4, quadratus laborum deloading. The lateral core takes over. The functional leg length discrepancy starts to resolve, not because you stretched anything, because the structure that was creating it is no longer needed. Step number 5, full system reload, compound movement, reintegration, and the real test is whether you can load your system without re-engaging the cascade shutdown. That's how you know the restart worked. Now, whether the pain is gone, whether your movement, its quality has changed. That comes first. Pain resolution then follows. So here's what you now know as we back up here. Your pain isn't a structural failure. It's a cascade, triggered by a threat, maintained by compensation, and addressable from the top down if you do it in the right order. The reason PT didn't work, the reason stretching didn't work, the reason your glute activation exercises didn't stick is that all of them were aimed at zone 4 and zone 5 here on the left. Athletic restoration starts at zone 3 here on the right. If you're a former athlete who's been in this pattern for more than 6 months, you've done the work, you've been consistent, and you keep ending up in the same place, the link in the description is how we map your specific cascade and build your restart sequence together. The first call is understanding where you're at and understanding where you want to be. We confirm your entry point, I build the sequence, and you leave with a clear plan. I keep a limited number of spots open at a time. The intake form takes about 2 minutes. The link is right below this video.